turned out to be totally unequal to the hour of power. Jarena rose up in the same service, took his text and proclaimed, "Thus says the Lord," with clarity and relevance seldom heard in those circles. Bishop Allen admitted that surely she had been called of God to preach. Yet even in the fact that God's power and spirit had been poured out on her, Allen used the rules of the White Methodist Church from which he had withdrawn to deter her ordination. She was never assigned a church or even given any clergy status, but she was a preacher. In the seminaries, we see a contemporary parallel of God's gifts to women as class after class of graduates is led by one of a small number of women. My first experience of a woman preacher was as a small child. A Pentecostal woman named Reverend Black came to Johns Island and was not allowed to preach in any other churches. So she preached from a tent on someone's property. She was not received at first, but was later referred to as one of the best preachers in the area. She drew large crowds, baptized more people, and received more people on confession of faith than any of the local churches, but was still not considered a preacher.
My God.
And was never fully accepted. God moves in mysterious and unrestricted ways. Certainly one of the most dramatic instances of God's breakthrough is to be seen in the story of Deborah, found in the 4th chapter of the book of Judges. This woman is most remembered as a Joan of Arc type, leading a victorious army of God's people after their own general refused to go to war without her. But her spiritual significance far outweighs the heroic acts mentioned. Deborah rose from keeper of the lamps to counselor to the people to great judge in Israel, a position at the very apex of both church and state authority. Deborah was used of God to revive and revitalize God's people, as no man in her time was apparently able to do. God broke through in a most impressive way with Deborah. So let me invite your attention to one more such persons in both 2 Kings 22, 12 through 20 and 2 Chronicles 34, 19 and 28. There are accounts of the crucial contribution of a prophet named Huldah. The incident occurred after the scrolls of the law were found by the builders working on the restoration of the temple. And it reads, "And it came to pass when the king had heard the words of the law, that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah and Ahikam and Asaiah, a servant of the king, saying, Go inquire of the Lord for me. And Hilkiah and they that the king had appointed went to Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shalom, the son of Tigvath, the son of Hasra, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in the college, and she answered them, Thus says the Lord God of Israel. Note that the writer forgot to have Josiah mention the name of the woman he sent his elite to consult. Even though Josiah was very young and no doubt accustomed to consulting women such as his mother, the only fact stated about Huldah was that she lived in the second quarter, the newer part of Jerusalem. All else pertained to her husband, whose family tree was presented, and whose family had positions as keepers of the king's